Hello and welcome to another planning appeal case study video. I'm John Peters, and in this video I'm going to explain how we overcame a recent refusal by Chesterfield Council for one of our clients. This planning appeal was to overcome the refusal for a single-storey side extension that was refused by the local planning authority, Chesterfield Planning Department. Our client was initially booked in for a free no obligation consultation to run through the refusal reasons that had been used by Chesterfield Council and to evaluate if an appeal was viable or if an alternative option would be best suited for them. The free no obligation consultation, which took around 25 minutes, found that this case was viable for appeal to the Planning Inspectorate, taking the decision process away from Chesterfield Council Planning Department. This case was refused by Chesterfield Council for the following reasons. The proposed extension would not reflect the existing character of the area, as its scale and proximity to the highway edge would be uncharacteristic in the street scene. The extension would form a jarring and out-of-place feature, providing an somewhat unsympathetic and anonymous form in the local area. It would appear to be out of keeping and incongruous in the street scene and harm visual amenity. Personally, that refusal looks like a lot of words to pad out what is effectively a subjective refusal. And as I always say, subjective refusals are the best to appeal. The planning inspector in this case identified the main reason for this case was the effect on the development proposed on the character and appearance of the area. The inspector stated in the appeal the following: issue is taken with both the scale of the proposed extension and its proximity to the highway. This is a modest single-storey extension of an appropriate design in matching materials, which would compromise a subservient addition to the property. Indeed, I saw that similar extensions have been added successfully to nearby properties within the estate. I find no harm in this regard in terms of any adverse impact on the character and appearance of the area as a consequence of its scale. Whether or not the wall/fencing along the rear boundary at number 12, which is clearly visible in the street turn, is lawful, I saw that the siting of number 12 on rising land means that it is already visually prominent within the street scene here, punctuating views along the side of the Tollbridge Road and up towards the Hammerhead. Although the extension would project beyond the side wall of the appeal property, it would not extend up to the back of the footway, with plans showing retention of an existing hedge. It would also be seen against the backdrop of dwellings beyond, on the far side of the Hammerhead. Whilst the council considers that the depth and width of the foundations required would have an impact for retention of the hedge, it does not acknowledge that replacement planting would be possible. Given that context, I consider that the proposed extension would not be so dominant or obtrusive in the street scene as to be unacceptable. I find no conflict, therefore, with the council's supplementary planning document, the Chesterfield Borough Local Plan, and paragraph 135 of the revised National Planning Policy Framework, which together and amongst other things seek to ensure that new development is visually attractive and sympathetic to local character, responding positively to character of the site and its surroundings, contributing to legibility. Many of you who've had similar refusals are repeatedly stating to us that you've had little or no correspondence throughout the application process. And the first thing that you knew was receiving a refusal notice from the council. And in some cases, when you actually received a letter from ourselves. We completely understand that the planning process can be very frustrating, the costs involved, the time it takes and so on. But do remember, we deal with this on a daily basis for others just like yourself. With Planning Appeals Experience Matters, our specialist team, who handle over 2.5% of all planning appeals in England and Wales that are currently produced and submitted, start by producing a comprehensive and robust appeal statement that in this specific case covered 20 pages and just over 4,100 words. It's important to detail in the appeal statement where the local authority failed in their assessment of the case and how and where possible both local and national policy applies in favour of the appeal. Additionally, if possible, bringing in similar cases that the Planning Inspectorate found in favour of at appeal. Obviously, with the back catalogue we have of wins, we're able to use these cases and what the inspector said in them as additional argument to support the case we are working on. Once an appeal statement is completed, we send the document to our client asking them to check that they're happy for us to submit the case. If we need to add any additional information that the client may have forgotten to previously supply, it's done at this point. The case is then submitted. It's vitally important that all documents and responses are submitted on time throughout the process, as failure to do so will result in the appeal not being successful. Something we hear about often when people attempt an appeal for the first time. Always ensure you use professionals who have considerable experience of appeals. It's worth asking them for some of the recent successful appeal case studies like you find on our website. Due to the large number of cases we represent, we have a dedicated team that liaises with the Planning Inspectorate on a daily basis. For this appeal, an independent planning inspector from the Planning Inspectorate visited the site on the 10th of December, and we're pleased to confirm the appeal was upheld and the permission granted on the 23rd of December in a 3-page appeal decision document. If you'd like to find out if we can help you with your planning appeal, complete our online form on our website, www.planningappealsuk.com, and our new case support team will arrange for a free, no obligation consultation with one of our planning appeal assessment professionals. Thank you for taking the time to watch this planning appeal case study video, and I look forward to producing another one very shortly. Bye for now.